I had always believed family was supposed to be a sanctuary, a place where trust and love were guaranteed. For me, my small stall at the weekend market wasn't just a way to make money, it was a piece of my soul. I spent months crafting every item, arranging everything perfectly, and dreaming of the day my little venture could grow into something bigger. My sister, Lena, and her husband, Mark, always seemed proud when they visited, or so I thought. They'd walk past my neatly stacked shelves, nodding and smiling, praising me for being so responsible and so hardworking. I would beam thinking I had their support. Whenever I struggled with a stubborn supplier or a late delivery, Lena would offer advice, her tone gentle and encouraging. And Mark would chuckle, patting my shoulder like I was their little project, their shared pride. But lately, I had started noticing small things. They would linger around the stall when I wasn't looking, rearranging items slightly differently or making suggestions that seemed helpful but somehow didn't make sense. Customers would come up to me later, asking why certain products weren't available or why prices had changed. At first, I shrugged it off, blaming my own mistakes. After all, they were family, and family didn't hurt each other on purpose, right? I remember the day vividly, the warm sun casting golden light over the market, laughter and chatter floating around like music. I had just finished setting up my new display of handmade jewelry when Lena leaned over, her smile tight. "You know, you could make more money if you priced these differently," she said. "I mean, we've done some calculations and it seems like you're losing out." I forced a smile, feeling that familiar pang in my chest. "Thanks, Lena. I'll think about it." Mark, standing behind her, added casually, "Yeah, maybe we can help you manage it. We know a guy who could." He trailed off, letting his words hang in the air. I nodded politely, but deep down, a quiet unease began to grow. Why did their advice always seem to lead to confusion? Why did it feel less like help and more like control? I pushed the thoughts aside. Family loved each other. Right, that was what I had always believed. I couldn't imagine that the people I trusted most could ever want to hurt me. But sometimes, love hides envy behind a smile, and I was about to learn that lesson the hard way. I woke up that morning with a strange unease I couldn't shake. The sun was barely rising, painting the streets in pale gold, but my stomach churned with a sense of impending doom. I brushed it off as nerves. I always got anxious before the weekend market. But nothing could have prepared me for what I found. When I arrived at my stall, my heart stopped. The once perfect displays were in ruins. Jewelry lay scattered across the ground, delicate pieces scratched or broken. Handmade crafts, carefully packed the night before, were crushed under overturned crates. The cash box had been rifled through, its contents tossed aside, and my notebooks with calculations and customer orders were torn and wet. Shock froze me in place. My hands trembled as I tried to comprehend the scene. How, why, who would do this? Then, I heard laughter behind me. Turning slowly, I saw Lena and Mark standing there, faces twisted with fake concern. "Oh, honey," Lena said, her voice dripping sympathy. "What happened here?" I stared at her, my voice caught in my throat. You were here." Mark stepped closer, his grin thin and calculated. "We just came by to see how things were going. I mean, you do realize you owe us, right? After all the time and money we've invested." I felt my chest tighten. My head spun. "Owed you. I didn't ask for your money. I never wanted your help." Lena rolled her eyes, sighing dramatically. "You're so stubborn. We only wanted to help you grow your business, and this is how you treat us." Anger mixed with betrayal, sharp and cold. I realized in that moment that their advice and support had been a trap, a way to control me and profit from my hard work. The people I trusted most had destroyed everything I had worked for, and now they had the audacity to demand payment. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. I straightened my back, shaking with a mix of rage and determination. "No, I will not pay you. You destroyed my stall. You ruined my work. You lied and manipulated me. I won't give you a single cent." Their expressions hardened, outrage flashing in their eyes. "How dare you?" Lena hissed. I turned away, unable to bear the sight of their faces any longer. My hands ached from the thought of picking up the pieces alone, but a new fire was igniting inside me. I would rebuild, not just the stall, but my life, my independence, and my dignity. And when the time came, they would see that betrayal only fueled me. The days after the stall's destruction were some of the hardest I had ever faced. Each morning, I woke to the memory of shattered jewelry, crushed crafts, and the sting of betrayal. The market that had once felt like a place of opportunity now seemed like a battlefield. Each corner, a reminder of what Lena and Mark had done. My family avoided my gaze, whispering behind closed doors, but I refused to give them the power to break me further. Slowly, painfully, I began to rebuild. I sorted through the damaged items, salvaging what I could. I worked long hours, my hands raw from repairs, my mind constantly calculating and recalculating prices and designs. Every sale I made felt like a tiny victory, a quiet affirmation that my hard work and talent could not be erased by betrayal. But the fire inside me was growing. The sting of their betrayal had transformed into determination. I realized revenge wouldn't come from anger or shouting. It would come from strength, resilience, and exposing the truth. I started speaking carefully to loyal customers, sharing stories of my creations, letting them know the truth in subtle ways. Whispers spread. The sister who helped wasn't as kind as she seemed. I also found small ways to undermine them without confrontation. I noticed how Mark had been bragging to neighbors about his influence over me, claiming credit for my success. Quietly, I corrected the narrative wherever I could, letting the community see that my achievements were my own. Each smile of recognition, each nod of respect, fueled me further. Late at night, when the market was empty and my stall was finally in order, I sat surrounded by the pieces I had fought to save. I thought of Lena and Mark, their betrayal still raw but their power over me gone. I realized that my revenge didn't need to be cruel. It needed to be undeniable. They had underestimated me, thinking that a ruined stall and a demand for payment would break my spirit. They had no idea that every act of destruction had planted a seed of fire inside me, a fire that would not fade until justice, in its quietest and sweetest form, had been served. By the time the next weekend market arrived, my stall looked better than ever. My designs were polished, my displays arranged with precision, and my confidence radiated to every passerby. I had survived, rebuilt, and learned a powerful truth. Betrayal could hurt, but it could also forge a strength I never knew I possessed. And in the shadows of my triumph, the quiet plan of revenge began to take shape. The next weekend market arrived, and with it, a sense of calm confidence I had never felt before. My stall gleamed under the morning sun, each piece carefully placed, every corner immaculate. Customers flocked in, drawn not only to my craftsmanship, but to the quiet strength that radiated from me. Word had spread quietly about what had happened, and the community's support was unmistakable. I realized that their loyalty, built on trust and respect, was far stronger than anything Lena or Mark could manipulate. I noticed them across the way, Lena and Mark, standing stiffly, scanning the bustling crowd as though they were trying to find a flaw, a way to undermine me again. Their faces betrayed disbelief, tinged with growing panic. They saw the life I had rebuilt, the admiration I had earned, and the stark truth slowly settled in. Their lies and destruction had failed. I took a deep breath and approached them, keeping my voice steady and calm. "Do you remember the stall you destroyed, the pieces you broke, the money you demanded I pay you?" I paused, letting each word hang in the air. Their eyes flicked nervously, avoiding mine. "I didn't pay you. I rebuilt it, on my own, and look around. This is the result of my work, not yours." Lena's face flushed and Mark's jaw tightened. "You. How dare you?" Lena started, but I cut her off softly. "I trusted you, I believed in you, and you betrayed me, but I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let your greed define my life. I rebuilt, and I thrived." I could see it in their expressions. The anger, the shame, the frustration of realizing they had underestimated me. And in that moment, I understood that revenge wasn't about causing them pain. It was about proving that their betrayal could not break me. My quiet triumph was far more powerful than anything they could demand or destroy. I turned back to my customers, smiling warmly, letting the energy of their admiration wash over me. Each satisfied nod, each word of encouragement, felt like a quiet echo of victory. Lena and Mark lingered for a while, powerless, before retreating, leaving me to the world I had reclaimed. Alone at my stall later that evening, I ran my fingers over the carefully arranged pieces, feeling a mix of relief and pride. The family bond I had hoped for was broken, but my independence, my dignity, and my self-respect were stronger than ever. I realized that the sweetest revenge wasn't destruction or confrontation. It was rising above betrayal, thriving despite it, and letting my own success speak louder than any words of accusation. Regret. For the first time in months, I felt truly free, and the fire that had once burned with hurt now glowed with quiet, unshakable strength.